Alright, I appear to be live. Let's see if this works better on Facebook than it did on the YouTube, guys. I want to say hey to everybody. I'm jumping into Plastic Addictions Anonymous right now to the home page. And let's see if it's letting me do exactly what I wanted it to go live. I am also going to open up my messenger so you guys can talk to me. It looks like everything seems to be working here. Guys, chop in and let me know if you're here. Alright, we're ready. I'm in, it says. Let's see if you guys can come chime in and let me know we're here. Last night we were building the chassis late last night. I put that on YouTube. So I want to show everybody when the chassis was pulled out of the box and when it was started to be put together, I noticed that it was twisted. It was literally twisted up high. But as anybody can see, and anybody can see as of this point right now, I literally have straightened it out. I used the hair dryer from my wife last night, and I heated it up just a bit, enough to make the plastic a little pliable. And then I took a heavy object after setting it on my cutting board, and I laid the heavy object where it was lifting up the most. I do need to do a little bit more work to it. I'm hoping once I start adding stuff out and straightening stuff out, I can be a little bit straighter. So be aware of that with this kit, guys. My chassis did come a little bit tweaked. I don't know who's going to come in or if anybody's going to come in and see me and say hi. So there it is telling me that I'm there. Okay, cool. Now it says I can view my live stream in a web browser, so let's do that. Let's play. And I heated it up just a bit, enough to make the plastic a little pliable. And then I took a heavy... So there it is telling me that I'm there. Okay, cool. Web browser, so let's do that. Alright, so it is telling me I'm in. It is telling me everything's working correctly. I do have my messenger open, but it does not look like I have to have it open. So I am going to pick somebody to bother the hell out of for the moment and see if they can help me out. Making sure that I set this up. Where is Mr. Samuel? I want to bust his chops today. Paul's been on for 9 minutes. Let's bother him. So we're going to go back in, and I'm going to go back into Plastic Addictions Anonymous. I am streaming directly to you guys, so I don't know if it's going to show right away, if it's going to have to. There's going to be some kind of a chatter between us, so I know that. So I'm sure it's going to save here and then upload it to you. It's probably not going to just let me jump right out. So I was hoping it would go direct live, but it did not. So I don't understand that. So it says photo, video. I can add, load, or upload anything, so I don't want to do that. It says room. Maybe if I create a room, set up a live broadcast. Okay. Let's try that. Is it going to let me use my OBS to do it directly? Something went wrong. It's because I have my OBS running, so I can't do that right now. So you guys are going to have to chime in and let me know if you do see my stream. I am under the name... I will check you 1 second. Hold on. I am signed in under stream. I am signed in under Joe Hudson, so you guys should be able to see me on Facebook. I am using the OBS software through my home computer. I've adjusted my camera and put my camera in another place so you guys get to see. And I am literally using my OBS, my home PC, and my video camera, and everything is hooked to fiber, so we shouldn't have any problems here going to Facebook. Whether or not Facebook says, hey, I can take that or not, that all depends. So now I'm going to go over here on my phone and try to go live onto my YouTube. So give me a minute. YouTube here. Go next. Active event. Continue an existing. Create an event. Upcoming. Just go next. Where do you want to stream to? I want to stream to YouTube. It wants me to go next. It wants me to pick something. Active event. Go next. Request is missing required authentication credentials. Expected of, okay. Okay, so that means I need to go to my settings. And probably put in a stream key, stream settings. Stream settings. platform setting is going to be YouTube setting, and we're going to go here, hide chat timeout, cancel. I don't know how this is working. It says 2 views, guys. I can't see you. Can somebody say something so I can tell who's here? Shows that I have 2 viewers. So I appreciate you guys coming. Like I said, this is just a read-only chat for me. I cannot type into this chat the way it's set up. So if you guys don't chat into me, I can't see you that you're actually seeing me. And it's not showing right away on Facebook. I don't understand that because I just didn't create a room is all I didn't do. I'm hoping it shows up. I'm going to stop it for a minute and then I'm going to come back in. Okay? So, hang tight. Let me see if this works and I'll jump back in. End stream. And go to Facebook. Refresh Facebook. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Going back in. Okay, I'm back, guys. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here, but I can't see you guys chat unless I bring up my. I'm gonna go ahead and keep my my messenger on top. I'm supposed to be able to do through the OBS software get my live because it's telling me that it shows chat only. It says stream chat read only, so I should be able to read your comments. If you're seeing the video and you comment directly on the video, they should show up on my screen and I'll be able to read them. Paul, if you're still around and you're still checking out, dude, I could use a little bit of help to make sure everything's working right before I go live on Monday. I know I'm going live right now, bro. I'm just trying to set stuff up, and I can't know if everything's working unless I'm live. It's just the way the software is running. I'm going to go ahead and close and start. I'm going to go ahead and start doing a little bit more building on this, and if you guys would do me a favor once you see this, if you would chime in and chat in and let me know that you're seeing me and hearing me, and it sounds better and it looks better than it did on the YouTube software or the Facebook chat room software or live room software. I'm not using that. I'm going direct through my OBS for my desktop. Like I said, I moved my camera around to the other side of my desk so that you guys can have a better view and you're not facing just directly to my shirt. You're seeing what I'm doing on my whole entire counter. I need to know if that looks better and it's okay, because for streaming purposes, I need to know that you guys can see everything. Again, we're working on the KW. It's up on your screen. It should be showing up on your screen. This transit mixer from amt. It's a Kenworth Challenge kit. It's a 125 kit. This is the engine. I've already completed all the tires. All 10 of the tires are set up and ready to roll. I've started the chassis. I'd say halfway through the number 2 basic chassis part, maybe a little further. I still have to add in things like the hydraulic pump and excuse me, the hydraulic pump mount and stuff like that. So I'm going to go searching for that for the moment. Is there a way you can, Paul, if you're still here, is there a way you can, nope, it's only one viewer. I wonder how I can view you guys. Sorry, guys, this is just like a test vid. I don't mean to be a pain in y'all's ass. I really don't. I just want to try to make sure that this is working right for you guys. I want everybody to be able to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and view it into a browser and see what it looks like in a browser. Excuse me, the hydraulic pump mount and stuff like that. So I'm going to go searching for that for the moment. This is working right for you guys. Hey, Dave. Yeah, man. I want everybody to be able to see it. So browser and see what it looks like in a browser. Excuse me, the hydraulic pump mount and stuff like that. So I'm going to go searching for that for the moment. This is working right for you guys. Hey, Dave. Yeah, man. I want everybody to be able to see it. So browser and see what it looks like in a browser. Excuse me, the hydraulic pump mount and stuff like that. So I'm going to go searching for that for the moment. Alright, so that sounds like it's a little tunnely, guys. I'm not sure how to fix that, but I'll figure that out. Does this sound okay to you guys? So I am literally not on my... Hold on, let me get you guys pulled up on my phone. So, and I can see you guys. Hopefully I can see you. Because I'm viewing it under the same name, so I'm not sure it's going to let me do that. Oh, yep, there it goes. It's refreshing the screen now. Oh, no, maybe not. Alright, so I know you guys can hear me. I know Dave can see me because he just said hey to me. I appreciate that, brother. That really helps me out a lot. I am testing this out to make sure it all works okay, so I'm going to keep it running for a little bit. And I want you guys to tell me, what you think. How's it going? So, if you chat... take it and put it back in. Sorry, that was another video. If you type something, I'm supposed to be able to see read only, so it's supposed to be able to see everything that you say and everything that you do, as well as you seeing mine. So I'm not sure if that's happening. This lets me view it in a browser of its own directly on the channel, so that's what I'm literally trying to do. Tell me, what you think. How's it going? So let me know if you guys... Maybe if I put caption on, it would sound better or look better. So let's try that. So I'm resetting settings. Let me know if you guys... Maybe if I put caption on, it would sound better or look better. Okay, is that better? So let's try that. Captions work for you guys? I'm resetting settings. Let me know if you guys... Maybe if I put caption on, it would sound better or look better. Just say hey if you heard it. Is that better? So let's try that. So I'm resetting settings. Let me know if you guys... Maybe if I put caption on, it would sound better or look better. Just say hey if you heard it. Is that better? So let's try that. So I'm resetting settings. Let me know if you guys... Maybe that's a good thing. Alright, so now I'm muted that. You guys can see me and everything. That's a great thing. So I'm going to go ahead. There is a bit, I noticed there is a bit of a delay. Okay, so like a couple of seconds really is all there is. But that's going to happen. I have fiber and I know Sounds kind of loud. Okay, so let me try to turn the mixer down. Hold on, the mic and mixer down. We'll go to here. How's that better? Better now. Okay, cool. Do I need to lower it a little bit more? I had everything turned up because I was going through the OBS to YouTube and doing a live stream to Facebook at the same time, and it was kind of giving me problems. So um, I'm glad. I'm glad this is working now. And captions. I don't know if you guys like the captions or not, but it does kind of give you the sense of if you're missing anything that I'm saying, you can at least read it along. If it's a pain in the ass, I will move it, get rid of it. Ah, look, it even blocked out. Cool, I had that set up properly. Okay, so the captions are automatically blocking out any. If I say shit, can't hear shit now. Okay, that's too low. How about that? Better? Yeah, I got captions up, but they're not on right now, so I don't understand why that's happening. Should it be staying on? Oops, I closed the messaging somehow like a dum-dum. I meant to go to settings. Captions on. 720. Which should be on. I'm going to put it on auto. And go back into my vid. Okay. So is that better? Is that better or worse, guys? I'm trying to keep it. I don't want to get it too loud because it was loud on you guys. Tell me when you feel it's going to be an okay tone, because this will be my basic tone as I'm talking. I may have been talking a little loud because I was trying to set stuff up and I was not realizing. Probably just heard me crack my knuckles too. Oh, I don't have my speakers on. Yeah, Mama. Okay, I'll come up in a second. Like I said, we're just okay, it sounds good. Okay, cool. I'm gonna turn my desktop speakers up a little bit. Hopefully, it doesn't give any reverb or anything. All right, so you guys can see what I've done. So this is basically how the show's gonna go. You guys can see all the little icons and stuff. Okay, cool. That's a great thing. The pictures and stuff. For you guys that are on your phone, um, the size of your screen is going to depict on how well you see what I've got on my screen. But on your computer, you should be able to go full screen and see all the logos in 1080p. I'm trying to go out in high definition, so anybody's phone that's got to change something doesn't have to work harder to change it. It's automatically there. So all size should automatically, as long as you have your video onto automatic size adjustment or whatever it's called, you should be able to see it and view everything perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize my OBS screen and just go directly to my live stream here. Yeah, there's like a 2-second delay, guys, just so everybody knows. All right, so again, I don't know if you guys heard me, but when I started building the chassis last night, we did the tires, I painted the cab and the bed, or I'm sorry, the cab and the hood, and I painted the engine. I finished all the engine. When I was building last night, I was building on the chassis. I noticed that the chassis was twisted. It was, look, guys. It was like that. Literally, it was like that, man. It was nasty. So I took my wife's blow dryer and I kind of heated up. I can see where it was sitting up and standing up a bit. It still is because there was a piece of tape there, but I'll get that to flatten out once I put it on this mat later. I'm going to get the front end on and all that, and then level it out. I used just my wife's blow dryer just to heat it up just a hair, just enough to make the plastic a little more pliable. I sat it down on my cutting board, and then I put a heavy something on the front of it, right underneath the belly barrel, which is what I call it. It's really just called a what's it called? It's a barrel. It's called a barrel, right? The underbelly. I apologize. The underbelly. So tonight, in a few minutes, I'm going to come back live because I'm going to go eat my dinner, guys, and I don't want you guys to sit and watch me eat dinner. Um, so I'm gonna come back live a little later, and I'm gonna be doing. So if you guys are around, you guys want to hang out, I'll be on. I'm not shipping this to YouTube. This is directly to you guys at Facebook. I did a YouTube last night. I'm doing a Facebook today. I'm going to do a YouTube tomorrow. I'm going to do Facebook on Monday. I'm going to try to get you guys back and forth so you guys get direct. If we start having problems on Facebook because of video or sound or glitching or chattering or anything else, or the adjustments I make don't help, I literally will stop live streaming to Facebook and just record everything I'm doing and then just post it. That might be a good way to do it if we start having glitches and problems. I changed over to my desktop in OBS due to the fact of my last couple of videos. People were telling me that there was chatter, and people were telling me that the sound sounded like crap. I couldn't do anything about that because I was going through their Facebook chat rooms, or not chat rooms, their Facebook live rooms that we went to that night, and it only gave me so many settings. But here with my OBS, I can literally adjust everything. I can go to my OBS and I can change. Let's see, we'll go here, and I can click on my amt logo. You guys can see that I've highlighted it, and I can make amt bigger. So if you guys want to see something that's on the screen, I can, one of the icons that are better, I can literally bring it up to a bigger screen for you. And then it'll just show you at that screen. So excuse me, let me set this back up. But I just want to show you guys that with Facebook, I can't do all that. I am on Messenger, so I am seeing your guys' comments, and I also am seeing them directly on Facebook's comments. So that's an awesome thing. As you see, I'm moving the screen back and forth, so you saw that. So um, I have Write On, what they call Write On Desktop, set up on this also. So I'm hoping to figure out how to actually crop, so to speak, a picture. Like you say, hey, I want to see that. Hey, I want to see that. Dump trailer a little closer. I should be able to go to my desktop, crop it, and bring it up to full screen so you guys can see that. Same thing with the detail on the engines while I'm doing it, the chassis and stuff. Haven't quite figured that crap out yet. I will though. I got the captions running so that you guys can see we are a little bit behind. Okay, so just bear with me. I appreciate you two guys. Dave, I appreciate you. You always try to chap in and say hey to me when you see me jump on. And same thing with Paul. Paul, I appreciate it very much for you guys' helping me out here. And Paul, Dave, I don't know if you're a military guy, but Paul, I do know you are. And thanks again for your service, brother. And I'm glad you're here because I wouldn't have got to know you otherwise. So we will. Oh, announcement. I don't know if you guys saw my post. Probably. I haven't posted it on TMA yet. I was invited to a car show and contest and swap shop in Tampa in December. Paul, I know you're coming down in July, brother. But it is in Tampa, and that is Northwest Florida, correct? So you don't have to come all the way down here to me. It really shouldn't be more than a 8-10 hour drive. So not that you should come, baby, but I'm letting you know I'm going, and I'm going to record that puppy as much as I can. I've been a shout out to Michael Mline. I appreciate it. I am going to do a live shout out like I promised him I would. This is where I was invited. You guys will see it in a second. For the annual Model Car Show at the NSRA Southeast Street Rod Nationals. Join us December 4th and 5th, 2021 for the Southeast Street Rod Nationals. Fabulous 40s and Got Woods are their themes. So my wife said before December I could get a 40s coupe and a Woody maybe. So also I posted the all about the sheet. First and second place of awards for each of the themes. There's more than 50 other awards. There's phone numbers on the brochure. On the other side of the brochure, there was the, excuse me, there was the awards that were listed for, some of the awards that were listed for stuff. It's $7 from 1 to 100, and I want you guys to help me pick the kits. You guys have all seen my kits, and you guys have commented on all my builds. Let's see how much you guys, which builds you guys really like and think that are worthy of going to a show and me entering in the contest. I've never been to a model show before. I've never entered my kits into any contest. I have this complex of not being as good as everybody else, or not being even close to be as good as everybody else. So you guys really like my builds. You guys have seen my builds. And if you can't think of one off the top of your head, I have a whole billboard over here to my left that you can choose from. Or you can ask me with my phone. I can show you the rest of them. Or for that matter, there's 10 months of me posting my builds on Facebook under the gallery or under the photos. Every one of them you should know as soon as you recognize. I know I'm going to be taking my Camaro. I know I'm going to be taking the trailer for sure. No, mom said ooh, ooh. Mom said ooh on the Camaro. Woo! I know I'm taking my yellow Kenwood and maybe even my blue one because there is a twin set that are box stock to a point. I kind of messed up box stock with the yellow one. I know when I put the red headlights in it. I do also think I'm going to take my Cuda, my Cobra, probably the Flame Out because it is all standard box stock, and I'm probably going to do my trikes. I'm going to pull. My wife wants me to do the stretch Coca-Cola. I think I'm going to pull that one down and do that too. I'm going to do the car trailer. I may just put all six of my NASCAR in the car trailer and enter all the rest of them that are sitting on the trailer in other forms of contests, like the oldest build I have. I'd win that in a heartbeat. I'm sure I have one that's 30 years old. So actually, I have probably five that are 30 years old. So you guys let me know in the near future in comments. Yeah, I'm even giving you permission to like download the picture to your desktop, post it back in, and say, hey, I think you should enter this one, and then you can either keep it or delete it. I really don't care. Anything that's on Facebook, we choose to use on Facebook or for whatever, it's fine. I know what I built, and you guys can let me know. And Paul and I are going to do the build off. Heads up for a build off. That's in July, if I'm not mistaken. Paul is going to be here, and we are going to do a build off of a. I don't want to mess this up. 34 Ford, 49. What the heck was that, Mom? 34 Ford, right? Pickup. I think it was a 34 Ford pickup. 34 Ford pickup. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I may be wrong. Paul's probably cracking up on the other end because my memory sucks. Anyway, guys, I'm going to jump out here real quick. I will be back. um, so let me know when come. Let me know you're in so I can see you. All I have to do, and I'm really hating this because it's really driving me crazy that it's got such a lag between what I'm saying and recording to what actually is showing on the screen, and sometimes the captions not even coming up. So I think when I lean forward a little bit more, it does have a tendency to pick it up a little more. So, and I know I was raising my voice at that point. I'll be back. I'm going to go eat, but I'll be back, be working on the chassis of the KW challenge from amt, the cement transit mixer. Um, we are on number 3, basic chassis. The rest of the entire build has been all online. The only thing I did not do was show you guys when I painted the cab and the hood. And which I probably won't be taking you out there to show you the painting of any of the other parts either. But you will see them after they bake in the sun for an hour or two and then come inside and get cooled off real quick, and then I can touch them in like, I don't know, 6 hours, 3 hours, something like that after they cool off. And they won't leave any fingerprints. But this is the flyer that I stuck out there. Guys, if you can make it, if anybody's in North Florida, uh, I would recommend you guys come hang out because I'd love to see and meet other people. This will be the second person I've met in person. Now I'm going to meet Paul, and now I'm going to meet Mike. I'd like to meet each and every one of my members, but I don't think I can get all around the world to meet them. But I appreciate everybody. I'm out. Okay, Dave, if you can come back, I'd appreciate that, just to hang. I will be doing this, like I said, right through to Facebook. So there's 1,300 members in our group, so I should get 2 or 3 or 4 to at least say hi. All right, I'm out of here. I'll be back shortly, guys. I am recording these, so if anything's missing, let me know if anything's going wrong, and I will check the video recording, and I will adjust and edit. Give me a little bit of time, and I'll be able to do slide-ins and slide-outs. I'll know how to do special effects on the screen and kind of stuff like that for the videos and stuff, too, to show things how I want them. I'm working on it. All right, we got this one number 2 down, so I got live streamed to Facebook. All right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go eat. You can take it, I'm sorry. Thank you. Chili,
It's actually good.
Is it? Okay, good. I'm putting everything out there. Oh, no, I'm gonna put
I got your spoon for your chili out here.
Oh, you did? Okay, so cool. Thank you. I got crackers, chili.
I got crackers out here.
I'm sorry?
I got crackers out here.
Crackers out there? Okay, cool. Fries. Here's my boy here. Where's my nuggets?
Oh, I forgot to get you nuggets. I got you chili.
That's okay, cool. No worries. Okay, that's fine. That's lovely.
But that's not a little burger, that's a big burger.
I wasn't complaining. That's not what I'm going to say. Boy, that's not bad. What do you want about that? That's not bad.
It's a good bag.
Huh?
It's a good bag.
Yeah. Right there. Got ketchup out there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to salt pepper in here and then I'll be out there. We got there. I'll put my cheese on it in here, right? Right, put it away. I'm sorry, thank you for giving all the kids
so intriguing because at a very intuitive level, we relate to the mirror. Looking in the mirror and recognizing yourself has something to do with self-awareness.
Humans aren't the only animals that can recognize themselves. Chimps were the first to pass the mirror test. Then others followed. Dolphins, elephants, even magpies.
And then recently the fish study came along. I'm not
Got a drink,
on
okay?
board as the fish.
That fish passing was controversial, and the test has
Yeah,
other
what else you got?
surprising
Nothing?
results.
Nothing? Okay.
Some monkeys don't pass,
It was
even
good.
though they're widely
problem.
seen as
I'm
intelligent
avoiding
animals.
Wendy's chili.
And if you're a
Every single
viewer,
time.
you may have
What did I
noticed
just
how
say I
your
was
pet
doing?
reacts to its reflection.
I don't know. Going to get something.
Research on
Oh,
animal
drink.
intelligence over the last few decades has sometimes been curious.
I avoided Wendy's chili since that time.
Yeah, I know. We always used to get it. I know. We used to like it. So.
For a week
I say, yeah, you're going to the new one. Let's try it. As long as it's good. I don't want
I
that.
think a couple of the beans could have been cooked a little longer, but I'd rather that than like 10 million hours of bullshit.
We need to know more about animals.
So how do other animals think? And how does studying the minds of animals reveal what it is to be human?
See that? See that? Yeah, looks good. Maybe it looks good. Look at that.
Almost everybody likes to watch animals whose instincts and intelligence are sometimes remarkable.
And they gave decent breakfast.
See that? Yeah, it was crunchy. I just sort of crunched.
Our subjects are available when we need them.
And we all have four, we all have
Think about what's going on in her little head. She's always looking around.
I just put a little tray right in there.
Very smart. He's already learned to say
Like we
probably
get back over that way.
a dozen words or phrases.
He has a lot of opinions. He wants to
Yeah,
know.
no, it's good.
Elliot's ego is very easy to damage.
Whenever Elliot meets other rabbits, we're always like, oh my god, he thinks he's so much better than them. He can
No, I don't care.
and he's an
It's
understanding,
$2.19. I think that's good for a bowl of chili.
There's so many of us who have
The
dogs
restaurants
or
charge
cats
$4,
or
$5,
pets or
$6
whatever. Like,
for
what are they thinking? Like, do they love me? Like, do they understand this thing? It's such a human thing to do, to wonder what's going on inside another animal's head. And we can't just ask them. Animals clearly have ways of communicating with each other. Bees do it by dancing. Whales sing.
I know, it's like a documentary.
And chimpanzees gesture and scream.
Previous to
I like
this, I
Humans have
watched
tens of
finance.
thousands of
explain.
words at our disposal,
I heard it all
which
the
strung together can communicate an infinite number of ideas.
They talked about
So
diamonds,
seeing if
they talked
animals
about
could communicate with us in human language was one of the first efforts in animal intelligence research. And this was one of the first experiments with a chimp
I didn't
named
see it. I
Vicky in the late
I
1940s.
think I see them sitting around the counter where you took your food out.
Nope, not sure it is.
Over there.
You can see it's not
Oh,
going
yeah.
so well. It turned out chimp
Where you took your food
multiforms
out.
aren't built for
Thank you.
speaking. But then, in 1966, a psychologist couple had another idea. They brought home a wild-born baby chimp named Washoe, raised her like a human child, and tried to teach her American Sign Language. Washoe ultimately learned about
Yeah, sure, I'll
150
go out and get
signs,
more.
like for these words.
Toothbrush.
We'll definitely get it more. I just wasn't never gonna get it over there again.
The linguist
Yeah,
had
no,
defined
after that,
language
I-
as symbolic communication. Then Marshall
That's
came
like
along
somebody-
and she was doing
Please,
symbolic
please.
communication.
Yeah,
She
it's
was
long
using
ago. I'm
hand
trying to
signals
forget
to
it.
refer to certain
This
things.
is very
Other
good.
high-profile
That's very good.
language studies followed,
It
which
made me
seemed
not
to
buy
show
Wendy's
that the
chili,
human
what, 5
mind
years?
and our ability to communicate wasn't so unique
I
after all.
really agree.
So the question was, were these apes actually using
Yeah.
language?
I knew you wanted to probably get your bread.
Oh, yeah.
This was a radical question. Up to the late 19th century, the assumption in most Western cultures was that human minds had nothing to do with animals. That wasn't the case in some Eastern religions like Buddhism. That view of the universe looked like this. Humans and animals shared the same essential nature and were linked through rebirth. But the Christian worldview looked more like this. Humans were superior because they had souls, and animals were ranked below
You can
them.
even order them like
Mammals
those.
that go down to the worms and the mollusks and so on. And of course humans were closest to
What
God.
I've heard is
The angels and God that are just above us.
But Charles Darwin changed all that with his first sketch of a tree of life in his notebook.
salad I got.
It might look small, but this blew up that worldview with the theory of evolution.
You guys had Wendy's
One
and
of
I
the
had a salad.
things that Darwin did so well in the origin of species was to make vivid an alternative picture, a
picturing a tree, not a sky.
Where all animals evolved from earlier life forms, and all life is related, even if distantly, Homo sapiens are right here. That's us. Darwin also said that intelligence must be on this tree, writing, the difference in mind between man and the higher animals, great as it is, certainly is one of degree and not of kind. But the mind is a hard thing to study scientifically. So for much of the 20th century, mainstream psychology measured behavior instead. This school of thought was called behaviorism.
Behaviorism became a sort of religion. At first, I think their goals were perfectly fine. They said, let's move away from internal states like feelings and thoughts and stuff like that, and just look at behavior.
But then behaviorism went further, arguing that the mind didn't really matter at all. Any sign of intelligence was just learned through a system of rewards and punishments. And that's one interpretation of how apes learned language. The psychologist B.F. Skinner was the high priest of behaviorism.
His work has been both applauded and attacked because it details methods to shape and control the behavior of others.
Skinner thought animals were stimulus response machines and that you could teach them almost anything with the right rewards and punishments, like teaching pigeons to read.
He's learned his different response to each sign by being rewarded with food.
Or to play ping pong, or to fly a World War II missile, which actually worked, but was never used. Skinner thought humans learned this way too, even if we were more advanced. In a 1977 interview, he argued that both human and animal intelligence was just conditioning.
But of course, it was extraordinarily different, much more complex than animal behavior, but the fundamental principles are probably there.
But the linguist Noam Chomsky disagreed with Skinner. In an interview that same year, Chomsky argued that humans don't need to be conditioned to acquire language or built for it, and it's clear from a young age.
Most parents don't give any systematic instruction of any kind to their children, yet the children nevertheless learn.
In a certain sense, I think we might even go on to say that language is even learned.
And he thought animals were built for other things. When asked whether apes like Washoe could learn language, he responded, humans can fly about 30 people. That's what they do in the Olympics. Is that flying? The question is totally meaningless. After Washoe, researchers taught sign language to another chimp named Chimsky and reviewed the footage of previous ape language studies and concluded that chimps could imitate isolated words, but couldn't speak in spontaneous sentences or with grammar the way humans do. In the end, Nim Chimpsky's longest sentence was these 16 words. Give orange, me give eat orange, me eat orange, give me eat orange, give me you. Behaviorism fell out of favor.
Even though we now don't believe so much anymore that they have language, still they opened up that whole field of animal cognition by showing that apes can do much more than we thought.
I thought I was gonna have crackers.
Today, thanks to Darwin, scientists agree that human intelligence evolved from earlier primates, with the first bit split around 7 million years ago and another around 200,000 years ago. That's when Homo sapiens appeared. And then, in an evolutionary blink of an eye, humans developed bigger brains, complex languages, cultures, technologies, and civilizations, and spread out around the globe. One theory about why the human brain is exceptional is that it just has more neurons. The human brain has roughly 100 billion. That's over 3 times more than a chimpanzee, and over 1,000 times more than a mouse. But recently, a study found that elephants have close to 260 billion neurons, almost 3 times more than us. Scientists have also tried to figure out if the kind of neurons we have are special. They don't look special.
This is so true that if you just look at a slide of human brain or mouse brain, you show a neuron for that slide to a neuroscientist, it'd be really hard pressed to tell you whether that came from a human brain or from a mouse brain.
But not all neurons have the same function. Human brains seem to have particular neurons that activate when we learn from others' behavior. They're called mirror neurons. But scientists have found similar neurons in the brains of other primates, and a study discovered them in sloth sparrows too. They activated when the birds mimic the songs of other birds.
And so we haven't found a special human neuron yet. And there's 100
brain to body ratio. Other animals we perceive as intelligent rank highly too. And bigger brained animals also tend to have longer lives.
So often when we're thinking about intelligence in other animals, we tend to focus on the cognitive capacities that we're super proud of in humans.
Like being socially smart, because we develop the ability to live in complicated social structures. But chimps do too, on a smaller scale, which requires the intelligence to make careful judgments about the feelings of others.
Can I predict the behavior of somebody else? Can I challenge this individual? Will I have backing if I do that? How do I reconcile, and with whom do I reconcile after fights? They have to make complex decisions very often.
That's how when you sat down,
And
I was
researchers
already
think chimps experience empathy because they have yawn
about 30
fatigue.
that just ate
A
it.
2009
And I was gonna
study
add
discovered
cheese there,
that
and I'm like,
chimps
oh my god,
were
they're gonna charge
shown
me 80
a
cents. I got fucking
cartoon
charged 80 cents. It'll be
chimpanzee.
way better, and I can put more.
We used to believe we were unique in how we use tools to
Yeah,
solve
that's what I
problems.
remember.
We encounter problems
We used to
that we
always
didn't
get it
know
pretty
we
much.
had, right? Because the universe is a little bit random, it's hard to predict, and I think one definition of intelligence is, can that animal solve that problem
Yeah, well, I'm
that
sure
it
remember
encounters
for
to achieve whatever goal
We used to add that a lot,
it wants?
because it does
But in the
make you more full too,
1960s,
you know
Jane
what I mean?
Goodall discovered widespread tunes among chimpanzees.
And that's probably 'cause
And
it's
then
got the beats.
researchers discovered something surprising. Birds could do this too.
So for example,
No, it was good.
New Caledonian crows are very good tool users. We know
Especially,
that now.
we always
They
used to be
either
amazed
make
for like a
tools, they
fast food
modify
restaurant,
them,
but if
they
you
can
think
build
about it,
these
that could even come
sequences of tools.
pre-frozen and they just heat
But
it up,
while other
honestly.
animals may solve
Probably,
problems
which
as
is
they
how
come
it is
across
made,
them,
but it's the recipe that they use, it's
special and that
it's
we
good.
learn from our
It tastes
memories
real,
and
not
plan
like
for future
garbage.
problems.
We used to think of animals like captive of the present.
Yeah.
We humans are
This
different
bag's not
because we
bad,
can
for
think
sure.
back in time to specific events. We can think forward, we can make plans for
Well,
tomorrow,
it's like
or even
both
look
the
further
sample and the
away.
sample.
I mean, it says
And
Wendy's on
that
it, but
makes
who
us
cares?
different.
But research
It
on
is a
the
decent one, it was because they made me park, because they weren't ready, like they were,
estimates they can hide up to 30,000 seeds in the fall in
they made me like
6,000
pull up,
different
so he ended up
locations.
bringing it out in the bag instead of them hand, because normally at the window they'll just hand me all the separate bags, but
And I don't even know where my car is.
for all the
being parked.
curbsides and all that, they can carry it out, especially if you have a lot, I guess, like I
But
did, because
humans
it
don't
was
just plan for
5
their
different
own
bags or
future.
whatever.
We plan for the future of our species. We build schools, libraries.
Because I
and
like how
museums.
Wendy's packs
We
it
have
too, like
culture.
the boys' 4 for
Culture
4 meals
is
were
this
packed by
idea
themselves, I
of
like how they
shared
always do that,
responsibility
like,
for our children.
it
And
makes
I
it
think
easier when
that
you're
model
handing out.
can be found in rudimentary versions of animals taking care of their children.
In Cote d'Ivoire, a study of 3 genetically related groups of chimpanzees found that each group used
Yes,
different
and they
types
have
of
a treat
tools
for
to
later.
practice
Don't
in the
forget my
same
professor.
African moments. Evidence that each group taught their offspring
So
differently.
it was definitely
And
worth it.
whales have culture too. This is a hit humpback whale song. In 2009, only this group of whales was singing it. Then in 2010, they encountered other whale groups at a communal feeding spot, and one of those other groups abandoned their own song and returned home singing this new tune. They call this a cultural revolution. Discoveries like this disrupted our understanding of how intelligence evolved. Birds and whales aren't as closely related to humans as other primates. Whales and humans, both mammals, share an ancestor around 100 million years ago, and our last common ancestor with the crow family, 300 million years ago, before the dinosaurs.
Kind of converging on the same abilities, not because we're closely related, but because we've had similar problems that we've faced, and we've come up with the same cognitive structures.
This happened with physical traits all over the animal world. Unrelated species independently develop similar traits to fit their needs, like wings, dorsal fins, and venom. And this happened to the mind, too. Which is why animals all over the evolutionary tree may have a sense of self-awareness. Except it's hard to tell with the fish. One reason it might have tried to scrape off the red mark is because it could feel it when researchers pricked its scale with heat, not because it recognized itself. And the mirror test has other limitations.
Part of the problem is that what the test that I gave you is a very visual test. And it might be that many animals don't use vision the way we use vision to recognize a sentient other human beings.
Which highlights a fundamental flaw in how we
Our dog
study the
doesn't look
mind
at
of
himself in the
animals.
mirror.
In a way, many of our
Not
tests
like that,
have been
not like
a mirror,
curiously.
looking for human qualities, using human measures, based on a human perception of the world. This is what dogs' vision looks like compared to humans. Dogs are red-green colorblind, and their vision is between 4 and 8 times less precise than humans. But they navigate their world with their sense of smell, which is 10,000 times stronger than humans. So our researcher designed a test with canisters of urine to see if dogs could recognize their own scent from one mixed with other scents. They lingered on the mixed scents longer than their own, indicating that dogs may be self-aware, but mainly through smell instead of sight. That may also explain why, in 2011, researchers found that elephants, a smart animal by many standards, failed a simple tool test to use sticks to get food just out of reach.
In order to understand the elephant, we need to understand that, for example, the elephant has 100 times better smell than the dog.
But then the researchers modified the test. Instead of leaving out sticks, they left out a box and a tire to see if the elephants would stand on them to reach the food. And the elephants passed.
And the reason is the same, because for an elephant to pick up a stick, it shuts off its smelling organ. And so you need to understand the elephant and understand that a trunk is not the same as a hand. It has very different functions.
Right.
Every animal has its own way of looking at the world,
Right.
its own perceptual capacities. Some animals hear things and see things that we don't notice.
Take bats, for example, a species that evolved the ability to sense its surroundings through echolocation. This means they navigate by making high-pitched sounds, mostly imperceptible to human ears, that bounce off nearby objects. And salmon can use the Earth's magnetic field like a compass to navigate across thousands of miles of open ocean back to their spawning grounds. The fact that we can't do these things might make us seem pretty dumb to a
That
bad
ate all this too.
We're just missing a lot
You
of
full?
the stuff that the animals do that's incredibly
Didn't miss your
smart and
nuggies?
incredibly because we're using
The chili was better than nuggies.
as the standard. And the more we
In my
expand our
opinion.
idea of intelligence to include more animals, the more we protect them. The Spanish Parliament passed a resolution to grant rights to Great Apes to protect them from captivity or experimentation. A similar case is being made in the U.S. for the legal rights of the first elephant to pass the mirror self-recognition test. And the Indian government banned dolphin shows because of the mounting evidence that dolphins are a highly intelligent species.
We need to anchor our own existence, so to speak, in nature. We have a tendency to set ourselves apart. We're separate. We're not. We're completely intertwined with it. And so we cannot handle nature any way we want to because we have to be careful.
Up until recently, most research has focused on animals that remind us of ourselves. And we're just starting to look beyond them.
Any of those ways that we think about the octopus is probably as alien to the human as any other animal on the planet.
Octopuses, or octopi, both are correct, are part of the cephalopod group and show some typical signs of intelligence. Like humans and other primates and birds, they use tools, like this coconut shell for protection, and even carry tools with them for future use, meaning they are planners, like the Clark's nutcracker. They recognize individual people, and they take an interest in new things, like this camera.
If you bring an unfamiliar object to most wild animals, they're either scared of it or they want nothing to do with it. Whereas an octopus often regards a piece of plastic, a brightly colored object of some sort, as very interesting.
Octopuses and their cephalopod relatives, cuttlefish, can also totally transform the color of their skin in milliseconds, something scientists traditionally haven't considered a sign of intelligence, perhaps because humans can't do it.
That's when you know they're going to take over the world. They have 8 arms and they can do this. It's obviously something terrible between us and octopuses going to have to happen at some point.
But octopuses defy the classic correlations with intelligence. They live short, roughly 2 years, and they tend to live alone, not in social groups. And it's hard to even plot their brain to body ratios because their brain and body are hard to distinguish. Of their roughly 500 million neurons, 2/3 are spread throughout their tentacles. That could be because they are further from humans than other primates, other mammals, and even birds on the evolutionary tree. Our closest ancestors like a worm living 700 million years ago.
For most of the time that animals have been evolving, we've been on a separate path from them, been on an independent track.
But many scientists believe octopuses still found their way to an intelligence we can recognize, which means the possibility of thinking and feeling animals is everywhere among the millions of species sharing the world with us.
We'd like to understand what kind of place the universe is. One very important aspect of that question is which parts of the universe have experiences, and have thoughts, and have minds. I mean, is it just us? Is it everything? Is it just some animals? There's just a kind of importance, I think, inherently to a question of that sort if we want to understand what kind of world we live in.
Money is a little different for a billionaire. For a billionaire, compared to an average American, a trip on a private jet is like a New York City subway ride. A Lamborghini is like a little type car. And buying a private island is like a down payment on a house. Billionaires aren't the 1%. They're more like the 0.0001%.
What's the worst thing about being a billionaire? Nothing. Nothing at all.
They can just make a call and meet with a world leader. At least a dozen are world leaders. There are roughly 100 billionaires in the Chinese parliament. Billionaires are booming. In 1987, there were an estimated 140 billionaires. In 2019, there are 15 times as many billionaires, with almost 30 times more wealth, totaling almost $9 trillion. If today's billionaires formed a country, it would be the 8th wealthiest in the world.
It's an extraordinary amount of wealth that these people hold, and they influence so many parts of the world.
That influence has made them symbols of inequality and a rigged system, fueling protests and political movements around the world.
I think people are sick and tired of living in a nation and in a world where so few have so much and so many have so little.
But many of these billionaires made their fortunes by inventing things that changed our lives, some more so than others. So why are there more billionaires than ever? And are they good or bad for the world?
The wealthy enjoy a life of ease and elegance. Please give valuable display.
The gap between the super rich and the middle class widens in dramatic fashion.
Well, I'm looking forward to my next billion. What will you do with those extra dollars?
I build companies and I support people who are building new things, from social networks to rocket ships.
There's only so much you can eat. It's only so big a house you can have.
What this country needs is a little more golden rule and a little less rule of gold.
I'm embarrassed to admit how long I have been covering wealthy people.
Lisa Kroll helps create one of the most popular billionaire rankings in the world.
Around 1981, at the time that the list was started, there were some obvious places to look for wealth in the country, places like Texas where you have the huge oil fortunes, and then Silicon Valley where tech was just starting to take off. And then in New York City, they literally walked around the city figuring out who, owned this or that.
It turned out it's incredibly hard to track down wealth.
Very few people thought that they'd be able to pull it off, but in the end, in September 1982, they published the first Forbes 400.
On that first ever wealth ranking were 11 heirs of John D. Rockefeller. He lived in the late 1800s in the United States, an era called the Gilded Age, which saw the world's first ever self-made billionaires. In today's dollars, Rockefeller and Carnegie are estimated to be more than twice as wealthy as the richest person in the world today.
This age was characterized not only by this astounding wealth, but massive corruption.
Mark Twain coined the term Gilded Age, because while the wealth was glittering on the surface, it was rotten underneath. Carnegie, Vanderbilt, and Rockefeller got rich from their political connections, consolidating industries into trusts and exploiting workers, and they were barely taxed. Before this time, wealth is hard to compare, but To the extremely wealthy, you probably controlled an empire, like Augustus Caesar, Emperor of Rome, or Empress Wu of China, or Mansa Musa, ruler of the Mali Empire, who controlled one of the largest sources of gold. His wealth was so legendary, his image was printed on one of the most important medieval maps. But the Gilded Age tycoons made their money a different way. They founded successful companies.
What caused that massive rise of wealth at the time was the creation, for the first time, of a continental scale economy in the United States and the rise of major corporations.
Like Vanderbilt's railroads, which formed part of the more than 200,000-mile line that connected the continent for the first time, helping turn the U.S. into an economic superpower. And billionaires are booming today because of an increasingly global-scale economy, and that's helped the whole world get wealthier.
At a global level, inequality has been declining, and this is mainly driven by the fact that some of the poor countries are growing fast.
And in the last few decades, no country has been growing as much as China.
China 40 years, 50 years ago was a country with the vast majority of people in extreme poverty.
The Communist government is pursuing what they call socialist modernization.
Extreme poverty is almost gone from China. Before 1978, there were no Chinese billionaires.
By 2017, China was minting 2 new billionaires a week and had the second highest number of billionaires in the world after the US.
Then it's not surprising to see entrepreneurs become very rich, accumulating wealth very, very fast.
It's a similar story in India. Their emerging economy lifted tens of millions of people out of poverty and created over 100 billionaires. These are today's billionaires. Even for them, there's a huge wealth gap. The vast majority, 94%, are worth $10 billion or less. 5% of them are worth between $10 and $30 billion. And 1% of the list are mega billionaires, worth $30 billion or more.
You know, I look at people and I go, damn, they have so much more money than me, and then I kind of catch myself and they shut the fuck up and go,
And while the tech industry doesn't have the most billionaires overall, it's made the most mega billionaires.
There's something called a winners take all.
Digital products like websites or apps don't take much manpower to build and can instantly reach a global market. There's a reason Google is synonymous with searching the internet. That's where more than 90% of all searches happen. And its founders are the 10th and 14th wealthiest people in the world in 2019. Facebook has more users than any other social media platform, even excluding the ones they own. And its founder is the 8th wealthiest person in the world. And almost 50% of all U.S. online shopping happens on Amazon. And in 2019, Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, was the richest man on earth. The celebrity billionaires like Oprah, Kylie Jenner, and Michael Jordan are low in the billionaire rankings, and none of them are on the list for the work that first made them famous. Michael Jordan made $90 million playing basketball, but his corporate partnerships were worth about $1 million, and so was his ownership stake in a basketball team. He became a millionaire through his labor, but he became a billionaire by owning capital. Capital is anything you own that can make you money. A house can be capital. Stocks
Stop
are
this.
capital. Your license can be capital. If you're Michael Jordan. Patents are capital, like for drugs or technology. And copyrights, like for Mickey Mouse.
I grew up around Disney and all that came with that. You're not going to earn $1 billion pulling in on regular income and paying regular income tax on it. Just not going to happen. So ownership is what creates wealth.
Most wealthy people make their money like everyone else, through labor. But the richer you are, the less your income comes from labor,
Hey, can
and
you
the
have my
more comes
phone?
from capital.
Yeah, it's in
And
the
the
freezer. I just found on the
0.001%
board
are
over
an
there.
exceptional example of
On the
this.
what? Over there in the corner, that cutting board thing.
Income produced in the economy is shifted
Spoons
away
are in the
from
packet.
labor towards
Hold on,
capital.
hold on.
That's the most
You'll see
basic.
all fours are in there.
And that's because global brands
Just
don't
take
just
it.
have global
Yep.
markets.
Nobody's had
They
one
have a
yet.
global labor pool. And increasingly no
Did you
need
bring
to
your
pay for
garbage for your
labor
food
at all.
out? I'm
Take
about
the
to.
textile
Otherwise I
industry.
bring it.
A series of innovations transformed it over the last 2 centuries. Each one boosted productivity.
I
and
know I do
profits.
that aggressively, but it
Today,
works.
almost
How
all
was your food?
garment
Good?
workers are in
I
developing
loved
countries
it.
where labor is
I
cheaper.
was hungry, so.
And now machines are starting to replace human workers altogether. involved. It automates what once took delicate hand dexterity and can sew as many shirts per hour as 17 factory workers. This can lower costs for consumers and bring more profits to the owners of Caterpillar.
And the ownership.
Yeah, go ahead, just speak, you know.
Share ownership of corporations.
Bring your
is
garbage
very
out.
highly concentrated.
Like the billionaire owners of the global brands H&M, Zara, and Walmart. And once someone has capital like that, it just grows.
Money just makes money. It's like you put it in a room, you close the door, and it has sex, and then more money babies grow.
Because I'm in the middle of the works.
As Edgar Bronfman Sr., heir to the Seagram's fortune put it, to turn $100 into $110 is work. To turn $100 million into $110 million is inevitable. That's because if you only have $100 in savings, it's hard not to spend, and it's hard to invest. But $100 million becomes $110 million if you let it sit in the stock market for an average year without lifting a finger.
Very quickly, in a matter of a couple of generations, you're going to find yourself with a dynasty or multiple dynasties. And given the power of money to control politics, it's just not something that we want to see.
According to one estimate, 13% of billionaires inherited their billions, and 56% are self-made. But it's hard to draw a clean line between them, because most people who inherit money work to grow it. That describes another 30% of the world's billionaires.
In 2014, we came up with what we called a self-made score, and it ranged anywhere from 1, which is where you inherited your money, you pretty much did nothing with it, you sat around and, ate bonbons or what have you. And then number 10 was the rags to riches story. Someone like Oprah Winfrey would fall into that category. This year, you would hit Kylie Jenner, which was highly controversial. She basically figured out a way to monetize her Instagram followers and her family's fame.
Get back up. Back up. Thank you.
Self-made
Back up.
billionaire.
However, some people think highly titled comes with an asterisk. When you don't get it from someone else, that's self-made.
If you're born on third base and you hit a home run, you're not really self-made.
Other types of self-made wealth are controversial too.
When we began to put the Russian billionaires on the list, the oligarchs, we weren't quite sure what else to call these people.
Some people call them kleptocrats. It's from the Greek, kleptos, meaning thief, and kratos, meaning power. It refers to politically connected people who get rich off a country's natural resources. That's what happened when the Soviet Union fell in 1991. Russia now has nearly 100 so-called self-made billionaires.
There wasn't a category for, kind of helped get these assets on the cheap by stealing or pushing with the government or whatever you want to call it.
Good and bad, it has to do with how you obtain your wealth. Do you obtain your wealth at the expense of everybody else? Or do you create additional wealth, creating great products for the rest of the society? And these are two fundamentally different ways of wealth creation.
In the Gilded Age, billionaires gave much of their wealth back to society, like Andrew Carnegie.
He said it was actually a shame for a rich person to die with their wealth. That's why wherever you go, you see Carnegie Institutes, Carnegie Libraries, Carnegie Hall, Carnegie Mellon University. You see a legacy of giving back.
And that tradition continues today. At least 200 billionaires have signed the Giving Pledge, vowing to give away at least half of their wealth. And they're doing things that governments traditionally do, like fighting infectious diseases, funding the construction of Olympic facilities, as several Russian billionaires did for the Sochi Winter Games in 2014, and ensuring college is affordable.
If my family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans.
Or repairing critical infrastructure.
Where the state of Michigan and the city of Flint have failed billionaire Elon Musk
is pledging to fix the water crisis, vowing to get clean water to every home in the city. Good for him.
There was a lot of talk about how we could just raise $55 million among rich people and fix the Flint water problem, and I was ferociously against that. There has been, of course, a great deal of philanthropy and charity, and that's great. But the problem here is a structural problem. We do not want entity of private, uncountable individuals who might or might not fix the problems that you have with your infrastructure, with your government, with your basic human rights.
Governments raise money for these public services through taxes. But in most wealthy countries, individuals' labor income is taxed higher than their capital income is.
So already, what the tax system has decided to do is to tax work at a higher rate than it taxes ownership.
I don't have a problem writing a check for more money. I really don't. I'm not here to say that I should pay 90% taxes, because then that's going to change what I do. From investing in entrepreneurs and investing in startups and investing in philanthropy.
And even if a country increases its taxes on the wealthy, in a globalized world, that's hard to enforce.
I think the best analogy for the offshore financial system is it's like an ecosystem. It's a series of small countries, sometimes large countries, and they each carve out a little realm of the law.
Like avoiding income taxes. That's a specialty of the Cayman Islands.
So you've got a building in the Cayman Islands, one building, which hosts 20,000 companies. It's a postal address, allow them to take advantage of the Cayman Islands tax breaks.
For shirking corporate taxes, you can go to Luxembourg or the U.S. state of Delaware. And for avoiding inheritance taxes, one of the most popular spots is the European island of Jersey.
The Cook Islands, sometimes known as the Crook Islands, specializes in helping people hide assets from creditors. And that's really all that they do.
The world got a glimpse into this system in 2016.
New revelations on how the rich and the powerful hide cash are rocking countries around the world.
Now being called the Panama Papers. 11 million Panama Papers to be precise.
It's a leak from a Panama law firm called Mossack Fonseca.
These Paradise Papers, it's another leak exposing how some of the world's wealthiest and most powerful people hide their money in offshore accounts.
I think one of the big lessons was this rogues gallery of faces that came out of it. It was this motley crew of sports stars like Lionel Messi and entertainers like Jackie Chan and then Queen Elizabeth and some members of the House of Lords.
But the big shock came when people crunched the numbers. An analysis of Scandinavian countries found that on average, most people avoid paying 5% or less of their taxes. The wealthiest 0.01% don't pay about 25%. In total, the equivalent of 10% of the world's GDP was stashed in offshore bank accounts. That's trillions of dollars. Russia was one of the worst hit. The 0.01% stashed more than half of their wealth in offshore accounts. That's a lot of missing tax revenue for public services. Or things like Olympic facilities. And everyone who turned up in these leaks likely got some help.
They're not sitting around boning up on their yachts on the tax code of the Cayman Islands. Wealthy people hire folks to do that, just like they hire folks to clean and maintain their homes or cook for them or nanny their children.
Billionaires may be the 8th wealthiest nation in the world, but they're also, in many ways, people without a nation at all. With expert help, they can pick and choose the laws of whatever country they like.
Globalization has opened up all sorts of addresses to hide the money.
This is known as Billionaire's Row, an enclave of luxury high-rise towers south of Central Park in New York City. The city with the most billionaires in the world.
And you see, in New York City, these billionaires are buying these luxury is the understatement. These condos worth tens of millions of dollars.
Our average sale is slightly over $18 million, and our average client has a net worth in the hundreds of millions to billions of dollars.
New York real estate is part of that global ecosystem of hiding wealth from the law, laundering money, and doing all sorts of things that really skirt the edges of legality.
People who wanted to store value, they wanted, safety deposit box in the sky perhaps, and they're buying property to have their money secure, perhaps away from their home country, where it may be taxed or taken, or they don't know what happens tomorrow.
In early 2018, 72% of apartments that cost more than $10 million were purchased using LLCs, which often let the buyer remain invisible.
You just have to set up an LLC or a trust or an LLC owned by another LLC, owned by a trust. So it would be almost impossible for anyone to search out who the ultimate owner is.
And this is just one reason it's hard to know exactly where all the billionaires are. track wealth on a global scale, so rankings like Forbes are the best sources we have, and they're not reliable.
I think the Forbes 400 list or any of the rich lists that get published are highly misleading. They are based on publicly available information.
If an individual's primary source of wealth is stocks in a public company, you just look up the number of shares that they own, multiply times the price, and if it's over $1 billion, voila.
But many people all over the world are wealthy from other sources.
For most billionaires, around 2/3 of their wealth is private. Billionaires may not even know how much money they have, like the oil tycoon Nelson Bunker Hunt once explained to the U.S. Congress.
Do you have any notion of how much you're worth? People that don't know how much they're worth, they are worth too much.
Well, that's absolutely right. Once you buy an asset that's not publicly traded, it's really whatever you want to value at. There's some people in the political arena who have done just that.
Donald Trump and his father were listed on the very first Forbes 400. And even in that very first listing, there was a note that said, they say they're worth $500 million.
Entrepreneurs may want to be on the cover of Forbes. They have something to gain from being known as wealthy. But a lot of billionaires don't. So even Forbes acknowledges it underestimates the amount of wealth in the world.
We always wonder just how much wealth we're missing. It's something that, quite frankly, sometimes does keep me up at night.
Back in the Gilded Age, the first billionaires didn't just give away their money. The government stepped in.
The progressive era began a new way of regulation, breaking up the major trusts like Standard Oil 10 years ago was famously called the trust buster for this.
In a globalized world, reigning in wealth looks a little different. The European Union has put tax havens on a blacklist, but the results remain to be seen. And in the U.S., politicians on the left have started pushing for much higher taxes on the wealthy, which a majority of Americans agree with. And even some billionaires do too.
I should be paying more taxes.
Should taxes on people like you be raised?
Of course, the taxation system has tilted toward the rich and away from the middle class, and I think it should be addressed.
The manner with which you play well is a
Okay, I'm back. Hey guys, I'm pretty sure I still have.
their own thing. That's between them and their
Maybe not.
Our relationship to billionaires is complicated. We've made them celebrities.
I
if they
want
aren't
to
already.
do
We've made them powerful.
subtitles
And
again.
we do some incredible things
So
with them later.
let's
Sometimes
see,
more efficient
where
than
was that at?
Well, it's not the individuals that are
General
it is a system.
language. Do I want to do subtitles? Import English. Guys, I'm still working all this out and figuring out where everything's at.
might soon be the richest
Show
in the world.
confirmation. Keep
And
blah
while
blah
their
blah.
money might not live in one country,
Output. Let's see if this is where it's at. Nope. Screen. Nope. That's not where it's at either. So anyways, I'm not gonna do it. So I'm gonna go over here now and I'm gonna bring up the. Oh wait. All I have to do is click this.
Was this sense of unified purpose.
The group was Nexium, and
Alright.
its unified purpose was self-improvement.
Alright, here we go,
Using a
guys.
patented method of rational inquiry for executive
Alright, here we go,
success,
guys.
led by a man named
I'm in and
Gene
on.
Premier.
There is a slight
But the
delay
claim that
again.
Ranieri had one of the
Not a
world's
whole lot I
highest
can do
IQs,
about that. I'm going to try to
the way
minimize
students
both
had to
screens so I can
balance
see
a
both
picture
screens
on
on
the wall, and how
the
they had to
Facebook
hold the
page and
vanguard
on this.
on 7 count.
So we're going to do that there. Alright, so now I'm hoping this clears up a bit. Okay, so we're back. I found the extra parts that I needed for the chassis. And I pulled them out, and I put kind of what I knew was going to go on the chassis into another bag. And that's going to be all painted one color, then touched up later, or taped off and touched up. Alright, so we're going to do the oil filter. We got two pieces of the hydraulic pump and the hydraulic pump bracket. They say do not use this bracket and this pump if you're using the front pump. I don't understand what the front pump is used for. I guess to pump it out through the front instead of the back. So we'll go with that. So now, I'm going to turn the chassis back over just the way it was showing. Now right here, this one right here that has two pins in it. Nope, I'm wrong. This bracket goes into the two sleeves between the auxiliary transmission mount and the let's say what that piece is.
System outcomes, and almost nobody
Number 2 is all it says. Oh, there it is. Number 3, cross member. Okay, so this has this little angle on it, and that's where you put your drivetrain from the front for the 4th wheel. So I've got this in the right place. So now this would go right in between this one and this one. There should be a little small thing with notches.
It was felt that whatever method necessary was okay because we were having the children, and God knew why we were doing it.
I'm not quite so sure. That's right, guys.
You were told to replace your family and discard your old identity.
Your only
Anybody else here yet?
to survive is to leave with us.
Love is a healing remedy.
It was simple but unique at that time. It was black and white,
So
American Indian and Hispanic.
it's showing
We all walked in naively thinking,
here.
okay, Jim said he wants to be
Now, let's see. Let me try to get this right. I see. I got the back one in where it's supposed to go. I got the next one in there, which is the T, which is where it's supposed to go. It showed. Then there's a space.
In the late 1970s, the group's leader, Jim Jones,
And that was supposed to go forward, guys, and this was supposed to go in there. So that's what I did with that. I put that on that bracket there. Now this is supposed to go right in here, I guess. There's enough room from both sides for it. So that's my assumption.
Officials with pamphlets about a nightmare in Jonestown, saying Jones was using mind programming.
So it definitely goes in front of this.
To condition them to die for the cause.
So it definitely goes in here.
California Congressman Leo Ryan flew down to Guyana to investigate and never
And that
returned.
goes here.
The congressman's dead
That's
because
the
police
front.
said, if we
And
can't
it's
live,
facing this
we
way.
must die in peace.
It goes like so. Appears to be right
Images of nearly
here.
1,000 dead. The largest mass murder-suicide in modern history.
I'm not positive about that, but that's what that appears to be supposed to be doing. So we're going to slide that into place. I might have to sand it just a little bit to get it into place. But I'm going to slide that into place and just kind of leave it there for the moment.
Entire families took the poison together.
I don't really want to make it. It's got some rivets in it, so it's giving me a problem getting past the rivets. So, hey guys, what's going on? Who's in?
Charismatic leaders with extreme beliefs and fanatic
Alright,
followers.
so now we got to pass the rivets. It should straighten out now. Alright, so supposedly that's where that goes. Like so. And I'm supposed to put the motor here. That can't be right, because that ain't going to fit like that.
They settled on 3 main characteristics.
Okay, so I did a really good job gluing it together though and straightening it out and getting it level. You guys hear me okay? Alright, let me close my keyboard here. So I get a little closer. Here we go. Alright. I gotta get this engine on my way before I break something on it. Alright, so we're just gonna put it right over here. Alright, there's a better place for it right there. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this together, then I'm gonna clean it up. So that's the first thing I wanna do. Looks like the oil filter goes like this on the bar anyway, so we gotta figure that out first. Then we'll figure out where the hell I'm gonna put it and where it's supposed to go. It does definitely appear that I have everything in the right place. When I look at everything on the instructions, so I'm praying that I'm just not catching something. So am I missing? I think I got all my members in too. I don't have that cross member there. I didn't see that one. I gotta go find that one too. I don't think that one's in there either. So there's that piece and then there's that piece. And also that little piece. It looks like it says the auxiliary shift mount. Auxiliary shift mount. Says to location inside of right arm. So I'm missing that as well. So I got those parts here. So I'm sure I can find it. Doesn't look anything like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue this. This is the hydraulic pump that is going to the center rail. I don't know. I may just install the front pump too, just to have the damn thing on here. So okay, so there's the hydraulic pump. I didn't clean it up. I'm sorry, guys. So now I'm gonna take, just because it's not quite clean up, I'm gonna take my needle nose and kind of squeeze it together a little bit. Put make sure that it's nice and sealed. Not too hard, you don't want to break it. Don't want to crack it, don't want to split it. Alright, so that's pretty good. Seams all done around, seams are all lined up. It's not off center, so I can pretty much let that sit for a minute. It looks like this goes, this is the hydraulic pump drive shaft bracket, or hydraulic pump bracket and drive shaft location. So your drive shaft is going to go right in that little hole, right there. So my assumption is that once I get the pump on here and the oil filter on here, I can figure out where the stuff's supposed to go, because there is a hole on the back of here that shows that the pump goes onto, and the pump goes towards the back. Looks like it's lower back, so there's a little knot here. So that's going to go inside that little hole on the back of the hydraulic pump bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and sand this down a little bit, because I don't want to have to do that once it's inside, because it's going to be really tight in there. And if I'm not mistaken, I do have it in the right place. So everything looks lined up. I am going to look for that one bracket that goes across that I didn't see, this brace. Looks like maybe I put enough glue right there. It's coming open. Okay. So this is the hydraulic pump, the oil filter for the hydraulic pump, and the hydraulic pump bracket that we're working on for the chassis. I ain't got nobody in now. I lost you guys. Oh. I really want to turn on. I really want to turn on.
She recovered from a near-death experience with typhoid to declare herself a reincarnation of the Holy Spirit named Public Universal Friend.
It was probably the first time that most Americans had ever seen a woman preaching or speaking in public. This kind of American Sinai, where people felt they were receiving all kinds of messages and dispensations.
I would like to turn on general. Here we go. Let's see. Start stream labels, English, blah blah blah. Automatically keep blah blah blah. Snap source to edges screens. Gotcha. This is all setup stuff, you guys, that I'm looking at here on my screen, just so you know what I'm talking about. I am looking for the.
Very early progenitor of the civil rights movement. Father Divine's early followers were involved in protests, in petition drives, in letter writing campaigns that insisted upon civil rights at a time when that call was very muted in American life.
But a call that would grow and touch off a new era.
I'm actually trying. Sorry guys, I'm actually trying to. Wants me to search, so let me do a search now for
Many began doubting the war in Vietnam was just. Americans trusting their government.
I've lost my train of thought, guys. I don't even know where it was. Subtitles. Jesus, Christopher Columbus.
Under siege. This drove a generation to search for new kinds of community and alternative sources of meaning.
And so what we saw at that time was the rise of these charismatic individuals. Some of them American, many of them drawing from traditions of the East, particularly in India. We are the righteous few. We know the answer. And that knowledge was an antidote.
You got me, brother.
In which we live.
But that knowledge sometimes came with a catch.
The search for alternative forms of meaning. These things have at their back a very powerful appeal. And sometimes people start out, even leaders themselves, believing in that appeal. But there is a break in human nature in which idealism can very easily turn into authoritarianism.
I'm just going through all the settings and stuff, guys. If anybody's in here, nobody's in here anyways watching, so that's cool.
The Americans particularly susceptible to manipulation.
So I don't know where to put subtitles in it.
Including convincing them to buy him a hotel and bilking a woman out of her inheritance. And one man was watching all this and taking notes. Jim Jones.
So Jim Jones, he studied, Father Divine to see how
Alert
Father
boxes,
Divine
library.
set
Oh, no.
up the community.
Jones's desire to learn from divine was even immortalized in the 1980 TV miniseries. That's James L. Jones playing Father Divine.
How could you sustain such a movement? My son Moses sustained his flock. But the cost.
Alright, so I'm just going to keep working, guys. Whoever shows. Anyways, we are working
Jim Jones
on the
took some of
chassis for the
principles of
amt.
social justice that were intrinsic to Father Divine's message.
Alright, oops,
Used,
here we go.
of course, to attract
Alright, see, that's a
people
little too
and later
close to
to
me.
manipulate
Just a little bit. Looks
And
like
it's when
this
that
thing is
manipulation
pushed over
becomes
some.
destructive that a group becomes a cult, according to social scientists.
It's really not about the belief system per se, it's about the behaviors of the group and the ways in which it uses various methods of influence and
So I'll
control
put that to the side over here. We're out of that. We're
manipulate
done
and
with that.
exploit the members.
I'm adding the oil filter and the hydraulic pump to the hydraulic bracket right now is what I'm doing. So I'm going to put the knob of glue here. So I run out of glue. I might need to get more glue.
Marshall Applewhite of Heaven's Gate convinced his followers of this.
Periodically,
Hopefully that worked. I sat it there too long. Clogged up on me. Yep. That's what the paper clips for.
graduation class offers life.
I'll ream it out a little bit, so to speak. Alright. So it goes to back here. A little dab of glue here. I'm going to drop a little dab of glue on this one too, so it spreads out a little bit once it's on there. There we go. Okay, around it. This time I am going to put my paper clip into place so it doesn't seal it up on me.
Social psychology.
Come on.
Using everyday influence and control
Alright.
techniques.
So now again we're going to take the hydraulic pump and the hydraulic bracket and we're going to put the hydraulic bracket in the shape, in the virtual place that it's supposed to go, direction it's supposed to go. We're going to put the pump in the same things, the virtual direction it's supposed to go, which is the, looks like the pump housing, and the bracket for it looks like it might go down. Yeah, there's a pump bracket and stuff that looks like it's on the other side, so it goes down. So we find the hole, put it on there. I'm going to move it around a little bit, put some pressure on it. I want to make sure it's straight and square, which it's not. There we go. Should do it. Alright. So that's all nice and square on there. I'm sure that glue squares down very nicely. So I want to find this bracket here that I know is not in there. It's called, it doesn't even have a name. Nothing is connected to it except for its location. Oh wait, here it is. Maybe this is it. Auxiliary transmission mount. Would that be what that is? I don't know. I'm going to look for it though. So it's definitely not in here. I don't see it.
In this closed environment, no outside focus, no TV.
I'm not sure if that's what they're talking about here. Auxiliary shift mount. I don't know what that is.
Over time, you're going to
Alright, so
more enveloped.
and the oil filter, after I let this dry a little bit, looks like it would go right next to it, something of this nature. Something of this nature here. It looks like. So I'm assuming it's supposed to stick up, otherwise it would have to be some other way. So that's supposed to go there, so we're going to put that into place too right now. Because I know that it goes and it'll be drying and then we'll just stick it into place when we can. Alright, so this is the only place it goes. It's just a flat piece that goes here. So I'm just going to connect it there, and it sits on top there a little bit. So we're going to put a little bit of glue there and there. I'm going to set this aside and find these other two pieces that I seem to be missing. One of them is called the auxiliary shift mount, and the other one is called, who the hell knows? It looks like it might be called auxiliary transmission mount, so we'll have to find those two. So there we go, we're putting the oil filter where it goes. Looks like it would go something of that nature. Not sure if it's supposed to pop up or not, guys. Doesn't really say. You know how amt kits work, they don't really give you a whole lot of information, just a kind of an idea of what you're supposed to do. Alright, so that's all set up. So let me find this other shaft thing. So the only place it could be is in one of these bags. Now that is all the barrel. So I'm going to put that over here so I don't run the damn thing over. And I know that this is all rear end, and none of these are the pieces that I'm looking for. So these can go over here. That's rear end and interior. This is where I found the other two pieces, but I do not see something that looks like the two pieces that are here. Not even that bracket piece there does not look like that. So, okay, so we'll pull that to the side. Right now this is all chrome in here and glass. So that's all in here in decals. Chrome, glass, and decals are in here. Okay, so let's go here. This is the barrel, and part of the barrel has the mounting bracket, so I know what that is. And it's not on either one of these two, so it's got to be right in one of these, in that bag right there. All right, so this is all piping for the exhaust and pipe stacks. The other part of the barrel, so we know it's not there. I'm going to check on the chrome just in case it's chrome. I doubt it, but just in case it is, I'll set this here for a minute. I didn't see it before, but I might have missed it. So let me do it. Let me do another check to make sure I'm not missing something for a cross member in here.
Today, a different kind of spread is driving.
I do not see the lights. I see the stacks. I see the headlights. I see the ends of the gas tanks. I see the door handles. I see the insert centers for the wheels. I see the lights, spotlights. I see the ends of the pipes. I see the horns on that rail. On this rail, looks like steps, more center pieces for rims. That looks like some kind of a control panel. That also looks like some kind of visual control panel. That looks like some kind of bracket. These look some kind of mechanism. So all this looks like it's, because there's the thing, all this goes to the drum and the cement mixer portion. So let's put this back away because it's not in there. So we know it's not in there. So we know it's not in there. And the only thing I have left after looking through this one is going to be the little bag that I have over there. So let's go ahead and look at this one, these two too. Because now I can drop them down there. I know it's not in there. Okay, so this one, I know what's on here. It's definitely not on here because I already know what's on here. I've already been through this, but I'll show it anyways. Mirrors, mirror brackets, bumper, more air, ends, stick shift, shifter. This is the T-rod that goes to give the two pipes for the exhaust up the back. That looks like some kind of a bug guard where it goes over on top of the engine. Those look like license plates. That looks like a T-tree. That looks like a ring for the dump, or the barrel. And I'm not sure what these are. Okay, so that's definitely not any of the stuff that I'm looking for. So that can go down here now. Okay, another piece of chrome here. We're going to get lucky here? No. Okay, so we're not going to be using the fifth wheel because we're doing the barrel. There's the gas tanks. There's the rest of the adapter for the fifth wheel, which is going to go on my Freightliner. I love the chrome look on that Freightliner. Which look nice. Those are foot pedals. That's an air tank. That's a fuel tank. That's a fuel tank step. Not sure what those are. Those look kind of something like a mount or a light or something. Maybe a spotlight for the rear end. Oh, there's the T-tree right there for the pipes. That looks like ends the tubings. There's the Kenworth signs. Oh wait, is that it? Is it chrome? No way. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Okay, so that's not it. So it's not on this one. Alright, so we know it's not. It's got to be in that little bag right there. That's the only parts that I have left over. So let me get everything put back in the box. So I'm gonna get the glasses out too before I crack them. So that goes there. Let's put this one back into here. It's out of the bag. Excuse me, guys, while I do the mad search. You know how it is getting parts. So, but if I do a couple of vids and nobody shows or anything, I'm going to go back to YouTube. Just kidding. I appreciate who does show and who doesn't show. It's all good. I do this for you guys. You want to show, show. You don't want to show, that's fine. I'm all good with it. So that's going to fit there. That to that. Stick this chrome down here on this side. And then we'll turn this different ways, turn this over. Where's that piece of paper? Oh, I need another piece of paper here. So, I need something bigger than that. So, I am going to put this. I don't know if it's going to work or not. It'll be good enough. This. It's probably good enough. Alright, so I'm going to paint it white anyways. So we're going to put it right back in here where it goes. Okay, so that's in where it goes. So now all the parts are back in the box. I can go search the one bag over there that's left. Right? Okay. Everything is going to be in bags. Everything's going to be protected. So we're good. So one more time checking these. Just to make sure. I do not see what they're talking about at all on this one, for sure. Oh wait, is that it? No, that's not it. And there's the other fifth wheel part that I'm not gonna need. They also gave me extra mud flaps and everything. I have 3 or 4 drive shafts on here. Those are fuel tank mounts. That looks like a hydraulic lift of some sort. That looks like a handrail. Those look like CD radio and antenna. There's the seats. Not sure what that is. There's the front cross member. That looks like some kind of a bracket. There's the brake backing. So we know it's not in any of this. Oh wait, maybe that's it. Is that it?
The idea of leaving home and going into that world is very terrifying.
I remember being scared across the street because I was afraid that, God would take my life.
It's difficult also because you're not used to making your own decisions.
About 7 or 8 years ago, I was in like a book club, and it was triggering because it was like, what do you think of this book? And
there's no way for me to for sure tell.
I was
There's
just
no
getting
numbers on anything
barely
anymore.
get a word out.
The only place there were numbers were those 2 things, dudes. I'm telling you right now. There are no numbers on any more of this stuff. None.
You kind of hate yourself. It's going to be exhausting.
So that's the challenge about these kits stuff. So I love amt just because of that, because they are such a little peanut when it comes to certain things that they're supposed to have that they freaking don't. Alright, so we get that down there, we get that there. I'm never going to get this back in the box right. They're over there, that goes over there. That one's good, that's good there. Let's put this here. Put that there. Put that there for now. Set this over here. Okay. Now, the only thing I got left to search through, guys, is this bag right here. Like I said, we're going to put that in a minute. I need to find that cross member, and I need to find that, whatever it is. Okay, so I know what those are. Those are braces. Those are supports for the back, rear end. There's the front end. There's the shocks. That's all wheel stuff. This is all air related. This is pump related. Looks like the front pump. This looks like maybe a front pump extra cylinder. There it is. There's what I'm looking for right there. Oh, there's one piece of it anyways. There's one of the pieces right there. There's that piece I was looking for right there. There's one of them. But I do not see that other at all.
Teaching them that they can make a choice for themselves, that they can do something that's good for themselves, and they can be independent like that.
I'm a survivor, and from pretty early on,
Oh, here it is. Boo!
Lord Cole returned to Guyana in 2018 with other Jonestown survivors. The lucky few who happened to be away from Jonestown the day of the tragedy.
Pretty sure that's it right there, guys. Look, I forgot to paint the dang visor. This is all interior in front of the stuff. I gotta paint that yellow too, or orange too. So, okay, so I found both pieces. So we got that covered. Okay, so there's both pieces. So now let's turn this back over. Now we know for sure this front bracket should literally go into
So one of the things we do is we'll just play them.
this box. It's the last one.
Sound sequence.
Where does it go? It goes forward like that. So if that's forward, that goes forward like that. And this goes into there. It should fit perfectly right into there. So I'm going to put some glue in there and get that in there now, and then we'll figure out where the other thing goes and we'll get it done. Then the chassis will be ready for me to do the front end and rear end of it. So I noticed that it's got like a full square, so I'm going to do a full square of a little bit of glue in there. Each box, it goes in that little box right there. You guys see the box? Like, you see it, that goes in that box right there. There's another one on that side. If you can see it right there. Alright, so that's where it goes. So then we're going to put glue on the inside that box all the way around it because it is a 4-point where it's going to land. So I'm going to use my little sanding block here to make sure I sand a little bit over the edges off just to make them nice and smooth and straight. Alright, now again, in the picture it shows that there's a groove in the cross member and flat on the back. It's showing the flat going towards the back with the frame sitting like this. So I'm literally going to just take it, I'm going to put it into this side, and I'm going to stretch the chassis just a little bit right there. That wasn't too bad. And get it into this side, into the same spot. Okay, so now that's there, it snapped right into place, and now it looks nice and level and square. Okay, so that's into place now. We'll move it around a little bit just to let that set up. So now we know it's there, and we know it's in. So it doesn't look like it go up or down. Doesn't look like we have to do anything with it. Looks like we are taking care of the bend a little bit at a time. Okay, so now we got to figure out where the hell this pump goes and how the hell to get it in there. Okay, so it shows on the instructions that this little piece right here. Okay, so there's the first one, which is that one.
Why is it so universal?
There's the second one.
How does sound become something?
Why is that on that side? That just can't be. Okay, so now that must be. So it goes up, up, flat, flat, widens, comes to a point. This side goes up, flattens, stays flat, and comes to its first point, which is where that cross member should be, correct. So now, come up next is this bracket here, which goes behind that block and right into that center block there, which it is in. Correct, right?
There's always music around us. Whether it's something playing out of someone's car stereo on the street, the coffee house you're going to, the mall, the radio, it's always
that means that this pecker wood does go right in between the front one and this one, right in here.
And she's one of extraordinarily few hearing people who's ever experienced a world without music.
This one goes forward. This one is this one. That goes into this here. It's exactly what it shows that it goes right into here. So it goes right into here. There's rivets in here. It goes right in between these rivets.
Let's go back to before.
So that's where we're going to put it. We're going to put a little glue there. And there's rivets on the same side. We're going to put it glue there. And that should be exactly where it goes. So now, we need to take this with the front, motor facing backwards and down, oil filter facing up into the driver's side, or passenger side, and facing backwards, and we put it into that box that we just put glue in, right here. So this is not going to be an easy thing to do, guys. I'll tell you that right now. So I am going to have to really work my butt off to get this in there.
Many parts of our auditory system are very ancient and are shared with a lot of other animals.
Our reptilian brain, the brainstem and cerebellum, help us create the rhythmic patterns necessary.
And I might have goofed up here a little bit, guys. Not putting this in prior.
But what's incredibly rare is our ability to feel.
Well, I get it in now. Just don't want to break anything doing it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the oil filter off of it for now. Get the bracket in, and then I'll put the oil filter back on. So the bracket definitely goes right in there, like that. That's the way it goes in. It goes in there, just like this here. Let's see if I can bend this enough to get this into place too. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can do this. It's in the chassis. Let's see if I can do this. Oop, I'll put that on. Okay, come on, it comes back up. Let's get this sucker into place. Okay, so that's supposed to be right where that's supposed to go. There we go. Right in between. Straighten it out. Get it right in between the rivets if I can, because that's what's making this bow out. I don't want it to bow. It is not in the rivets where I want it. It's got to come back on this side. There we go. Alright, that let it move a little bit more. Glue in the spot right there where it goes. And trying to get the light on it, and just bring this one back as well. Oh, come on. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Alright. So it's showing that this is going forward, and it's going into that little spot there. So we're going to put it here first. Pull it away with this one in the front. Bend it a little bit. Put it into place. Pull it past the best I can. There we go, okay. Alright, is it in the right spot? I can't see because there's no light. I need my light. Where'd my light go? I need my light. Hang on, guys. Oh, there goes my phone. Hang on, guys. I gotta get my light. Alright. So, it is in the correct place on both sides. It's still a little bowed. I don't understand why, because it is in the right place. So there. That's where it's showing to go. right in between those brackets.
The electrical signal from those electrodes would sound like this. Playing multiple pitches at the same time unlocks another feature of harmony.
All these kinds of cultures tend to recognize that this relationship is special.
If you ask men and women to sing in unison, what typically happens is they actually sing an octave apart.
Octaves are pitches with double or half the frequency of another.
That kind of sense of equivalence is very widespread in the culture.
And that special relationship might
Alright.
explain why the opening of this song is so mellow.
We got it in there. Let's shape it up a bit.
The first two notes are an octave.
Alright, so now we got it in there. Now we gotta get the pump and everything back on it.
Every culture divides this.
That's supposed to be where the drive shaft's supposed to go, so we'll see.
Most of us
I'm
remember
not quite so
melodies
sure
by
that's in the right place, guys. It's not looking like it's fitting right.
like this melody starting in
Actually, that looks pretty damn good now. I'm hoping I did this right, you guys.
starting on an F, it still sounds like the same melody.
Alright.
It's just not like this for birds.
You can train them to recognize
Do not use if using front mount version.
transpose those melodies, move them up or down in pitch. They have no idea what those things are. They completely relearn it as if they're brand new notes. They don't remember what they were.
Then there's timbre. The quality
Alright,
of
so
sound
now we gotta
is
get the
pitch.
pump back on there, which goes
Baritone sax.
here, which is not does not look like it's gonna fit now.
See timbre like we
So that can't be right. That's gotta go forward more. It's gotta go into the next one's up. It's got to. It's gotta go up there is where it's got where it's supposed to be. Up there. Gotta be there.
Some types of crabs and fireflies
Same thing here. It's gotta be there. That's where it's gotta go. Why it's twisting, I have no freaking idea. There we go. That looks like it might be better now.
Rhesus monkeys can understand octave equivalence, but can't feel beat.
Alright, so there we go. Alright, I feel a little better with that. That's a little straighter and a little nicer. Alright, there we go. So I don't have to pop it back up. I'm just gonna drop a tab of glue in the front of that, because now that's finally straight. It's finally in there. It's finally in there. It's finally straight. Finally looks good. Didn't do anything to the chassis and screw it all up.
It's deep connection to our feelings.
Okay, so we're good.
The song forever Jean.
So now let's get the pump in there. Finally got that piece of shit in there. Excuse my language. I gotta figure out how to turn.
It's in the major
So
scale.
now it should fit
In Western music,
with this one down. Whoops, the way it's showing.
Other cultures have their own ways of expressing.
So if that goes onto there, this goes down. This goes right here. Okay, so that's where we're gonna put that. There. That's where it goes.
Major meaning happy and minor
Okay,
meaning sad
so.
is not universal.
For a Western ear, it might sound pretty happy, but qualities will associate.
Alright, little dab of glue on the back of the pump and get it right back into that position where it goes.
Based on the scale system of your culture, that is universal. And that meaning is built over centuries.
Alright, that is perfectly square on that, it looks like pretty much. Alright, so let's put a little glue on the notch again.
In the 1600s. The baseline simply
Right.
descending in measure scale.
Excuse me, thank you.
In the hundreds of
This goes downward, it shows, so let's put it downwards and put it into place. There is your pump. There's not room for the filter. Now, I do not understand that.
With each repetition, its meaning grows. So that whenever you hear it, it just gets a little more powerful. There's something familiar about it, but something surprising too. We hear these melodies so often that the effect becomes immediate and unconscious. Music connects so many abilities.
Alright.
It's very hard to use.
So now that I got that in the right place, it does look like the filter will probably go into place there, like it's supposed to.
Far fewer have trouble
Yep.
feeling the beat. And
Yep.
losing music perception
Okay.
altogether, that's
So
basically
we'll glue there, we'll glue back on there.
in 2000.
Alright, and I got the other piece to put on too, and that's it. Chassis partial, partials of chassis for this is done. Okay, and there is a little bit bigger of a opening on one side than the other. Once I get this all in, I am going to go ahead and put a little bit of touch of glue on each end of this cross member. Just want to make sure everything's straight and working first, and nothing's all bent up or in the wrong position. And once I'm sure of that, I can go ahead and just drop a little glue just to hold this into place here. and maybe here, and on the other side as well. There we go, okay. Now, last piece to go on is this auxiliary shaft shift mount. So when it comes up, it's showing that it's coming up here, it's going flat, and then it's going wider here, and it's showing that that mount goes right into this hole, I think, right in front, goes right into that hole. So this mount, right here, looks like what it is, goes, I don't know which end has the hole in it, this one does, so it actually has a pin in it. So it would literally go, oh no, there's a box in there that it goes to. Yep, there's a box that little side goes to. So do a little bit of cleaning on this, and then that part's done. We can move on to the drivetrain, the rear drivetrain. That's what we're working on next. Let me go and sand this down a bit so it lays flat. I don't know where my other sanding stick is. I had it right here. So we know that's going to go flat. I also want to make sure, because this has got a stud on it, which I know it means it connects to something, I'm going to clean off both sides of that, the back and front side of that too, so that's nice and clean when it goes on the... Oh, you know what that is? That's not even. That's sprue, so that can come off. Alright. So, we're all here. Hey Dave, you still here with me, Brody? Alright, so we got it all pretty much working. I got that hydraulic pump in. You've been watching for 17 minutes. You're watching me struggle with this stupid pump. But I finally got it positioned and in right, I think. So right now I'm just putting in the front shift mount. And there's a little box in here that it goes into, so I'm not having no problem putting that because there's not one on the other side. So that's obviously where it goes. So I'm going to put a little glue in that box. Like I said, it does say to assemble all this before I paint it, which is a good freaking idea. Before I paint it also, I'm going to go around with a little bit of sander. I have little sanding sticks and stuff, little points and stuff on them that I use to do certain sanding. So I'll get in there and sand some of the paint or some of the glue points down. So this is showing that the bow, there's a bow and there's a slight bow in it. I don't know if I can show you. Here, let me try to get up on this.
Some of the same patients who can't get 2 or 3 words.
There's a slight bow. Dang it. There's a slight bow on the way that piece is made, and there's a shorter flat spot on one end and a wider one on the other end. So, and they're showing that bow going up in towards the inside of the frame. So I'm just going to put that little piece under there, and it does look like it needs to be straightened, so I will straighten it. Put it back in, let it set up for a minute or two before I put any other parts on the rest of it, but we should be ready to roll. So, and like I said, last night I did straighten the chassis. It does look like it might need to set up overnight one more time, but I want to get the front end and rear end in so that tomorrow I can paint it, and Monday, hopefully right here, I can start putting stuff on the chassis and make it look better and start doing all my detail that I want to do. There's no rivets and stuff for me to do on this chassis. I really was hoping there was, because that would look really sweet with chrome little rivets and bolts going all the way down the chassis, but there's not, so I'll have to figure out other ways to make it nice and neat. Dave, can you still hear me okay? And see what I'm doing okay, bro? Oh, I don't think you're here anymore. No. Alright, so basically we got the chassis going, guys. It's all good. Got the pump in. Got the pump squared up with everything. Got the rear drive ready to roll. It's got the rear end springs on. Got the brackets facing towards the rear. Got the underbelly bracket inside in place. Got the shift mount into place. All the cross members into place, and the front cross member for the radiator in place. This tube is supposed to go through here, right into here, like this. So I am going to go ahead and just put that in there because there's no way that it's going to come off once it's in there. So that's supposed to go in there like that. Oh, I guess I should have cleaned it first. So anyway, okay, so there. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this there's a little stud on it off here. I'm going to clean that off from the sprue. Yep, feels like it's from the sprue. I'm coming off sprue, so I'm going to clean that off. and then I'll put a little glue in the holes that it goes in. And this is supposed to kind of like keep the rear end tightened too, because it's going to have so much weight with the barrel on it. So I'm sure that's what this is an extra bracket here, and it shows that it goes in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue in there, finish that. That's it. We move right on to the front and the rear ends. What did I say I was going to do? Oh, I was going to go in here. So we put it in there, a little bit in there, and a little bit way down it. Yeah, there's even a little bevel inside there that it goes in. So put a little glue in there, just to make sure we get a good bite on it. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue in one of the ends of these. Yep, so I know it came out smoothly there too. So there we go. One dot on each end, one dot on each side. Spread this just a little bit, man. Don't press too hard when you do this, because you will snap this frame wide open again and be back to square one. Okay, once you get that into place and you know it's sitting into place, you'll feel it kind of like sitting in the hole. My recommendation is I use wire. I have like a wire here that I use. I would just cut a piece. I'm just going to cut it. There's a good perfect piece for it right there. Hold on. So let me put this away. This is just for like overnight. I am going to take a wire, because I am going to be putting the rear end in. So I'm going to go ahead and take a wire, and I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to bring it up and around here, through the other one, bring it back over here, and just so I can still put the rear end in, I'm going to spin it on the outside, and I'm going to pull it tight, so that what it does is it holds that rear end mechanism into place while it's gluing. And the tighter you see the wire get inside, the more tight that bracket or that piece is going to be. So I'm literally just going to keep turning it until I see the wire inside start to pull in tight and straight. There it goes. So you can see it. You can see it tightening straight. See it? You can see it tightening straight. So sooner or later it gets so taut that it'll just straighten right out. Okay, so now we got that moving and going. Right? Nice and tight. Yep, it's all in there. Can't go any further. So we know it's tight. We know it's in the right place. Let's throw it to a couple more, a little bit more maybe, because it didn't quite do what I wanted to. But I don't want to snap it, so you don't want to move it too fast because it'll hit the wire. Okay, so that's tight enough to hold that to where it doesn't spread apart. You can even try to pull it, it doesn't spread apart. So then I would just, like it just did, it just broke off. Cut the wire off, put it to the side. You might need it for another piece of the chassis. Also, a good thing that I do sometimes if I need to make sure that the bracket, the cross members go off, through these little holes here, you can literally take, I do some of my wires when I use them for chassis and stuff. I wind them up so they're stronger. So bear with me while I cut the end of this off because it unwound, so we can show you what I mean. I would use these wires overnight if I was having a problem with the chassis staying together. I would just take a little piece of wire, I'd stick it through these holes, and again, all I would do is bring it up or down and wrap it depending on what I'm working on, and then just spin it until that center piece gets tight and it holds everything together. That's how you can do that overnight. That I recommend if you're having any problems with the chassis. That's a way to stabilize the chassis as well as taking little nails. I don't know why that's not landing. As well as taking little nails and putting your chassis down and flat and putting the little nails on each side of it to hold it in place and hold it straight. Draw yourself a straight line, do your measurement right to make sure that it's square, and just a good way to straighten your frame as well. So that's about it. I'm ready to start doing, it looks like the rear terrain. Let me just look over my instructions, make sure I didn't miss nothing. Okay, so we're moving on to number 5, or number 4 actually, number 4. My bad. Oh, you have a little glue on there? Uh-oh. Oh, no, there's just a little something. Okay, so we're doing number 6 now, or number 3, my bad. Number 3 is the basic chassis, number 4 is the front end. Here we go with the front end now. That's what I was saying, that's the next thing we were doing. Alright, so we're going to do 4 and then 5, right? Right. So 4 is the front, so let's get the front end in there and on together too. So let me get these instructions folded so I can see them easily. Alright, so guys, we're moving on to number 4, front axle. Here there are extra parts and some parts that I don't have out yet, so bear with me while I get them. We got these two. We need, looks like we need this. Looks like we need the drive arm, which I know I saw. There's the drive arm. Excuse me. Okay, so there's the drive. There's the idler arm, pitman arm, front springs, fuel filter, That's what that is. That's what that is. Hang tight. Now I know what that is. Hold tight. What did I do with that? Dang it, I knew I was going to do that. See, I figure out where it went to. Alright, well, I got to find the fuel filter and I'll put that on. It's right here somewhere. I think I threw it into here. Yep, there it is. Okay, so I'll get that and put that on too. Alright, there is the steering box, which that shows that I'm going to need up there to go with this. This does not go. This goes back into the... All of this can go back into the... Oops. Let's get that out of what that is. Alright. So, oh yeah, that's the fender I don't need. So I'm going to throw that back in the box over here as well. So let's see. It shows... There's a plate that I don't see here right this second. And it does not show the shocks in here yet. But it does show all of these. So it shows all of these for the wheels because they want you to put the wheels on too, evidently. So it wants all of these. So we'll be using this. I'm sure the shocks will be in place. The fuel filter I have right up there. These two I have. I'm looking for the left front spring. No, I'm not. I'm looking for this piece. But it doesn't tell me what this piece is. And if I'm pointing this way, it does show that it goes forward and that piece sticks out. So it goes like that. Literally. Okay, so now I figured out what I did wrong with the front. And I'm remedying that right here, right now. So it goes back just a hair, like that. Okay, so let me get some glue in there and get that done too, back into place. And I'm probably going to go ahead and glue that, or wire that. A little bit of glue there. I want my Frosty, if you wouldn't mind while you're in there. A little bit of string on that. Let's put this back, because now that I'm looking at the front, I see that it sticks out a bit. So it must supposed to. Oh, it goes the other way. Right? Yep, it goes here. And here. Like that. It looks like it comes back a little bit from that one and back a little bit from that one. It sticks out. Thank you, my love. And it goes in there like that. So that's the way that goes now. I figured that out. Alright, so see, live and learn. Gotta look at this. Gotta look the instructions forward. So now I want to find out if there's a wire. Yeah, if there's a wire, I can put right in here to hold this together. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm gonna take my wire and I'm gonna run it through here, through this hole here, into the one on the other side. And that's going to be about it for the night, guys. I've been on for about an hour now, 50 minutes, so I'm going to call it a night. I'm just going to tighten this up, and I'm going to go make sure we have all the parts that I need to do the front end and rear end, and I'll have them all out and probably on and painted tomorrow. And next time I pop on and do any build, it will probably be ready to start putting in the proper place. Everything in its proper place. Okay, that should be tight enough to hold that into place for me for the night. It is not bowing. It is not running away. It is staying nice and firm where it's supposed to go. Push them down like this. Actually, they look like they went up and over, so they do. They go up and over that. So they don't go down. That's why it's looking like that, because they go up and over that. So it actually sets like that, is what it looks like. Yeah. Alright, so now that we got that all ready to roll, and it's all gluing, we got it nice and strapped. Want to make sure it's straight cross member, it's straight, because it is a front cross member for the radiator and such. So I'm assuming that's the way it's going to go. And that looks like it's pretty good there. Still got the little knob out front. Looks like it might be just a little bit less. Just a little bit forward. Alright, so now we got everything there. I got the front end wired together so that it'll glue overnight, stay put overnight. I'm going to be calling it done for tonight. Guys, peace. Hey, who's there? Who be there? Alright, so now I adjusted the front member to be back where it was actually supposed to be. We got the hydraulic pump in. We got the pump or filter in. I've got the cross member for bracing for the rear end in. We've got all the cross members into place, so we are moving on to the front axle. Now, I am not going to carry on with this tonight. I don't know who just chimed in, but I don't know. I am out of here, guys. Have a great night, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow or Monday. Bye.